back here on the show. My name's Jones Angel, along with the head coach of the Tar Heels, Roy Williams. And, Coach, you didn't hear this part, but before you and I started talking again in this segment, went through some of the success that the Carolina spring sports are having right now, and that includes 4 teams ranked number 1 in the nation, both men's and women's lacrosse, both men's tennis and women's tennis. And some people might know this, some people might not. You played such a big role in the seniors who had their seasons cut short a season ago due to COVID being able to come back, stay on scholarship, and play. Why was that important to you to help those young men and women?
Well, last year things were so hectic. I mean, we're at ACC tournament, and the next day we're sending our kids home. Yeah. And I'm not saying we're sending them home for a break. We're sending them home for the rest of the semester. And I was thinking, oh, my gosh, our women's tennis team at that time was ranked number 1 in the country, and they had just destroyed everybody. And I was thinking, what if I were a senior and my season was cut short and somebody said, you're done? And I knew that those girls had really prepared to try to win the NCAA championship, which is the outdoor tournament, right. What is considered the NCAAs. And then I started thinking about women's lacrosse at that time was ranked number 1. Men's lacrosse was in the top 10. Our men's tennis was in the top 10. And it just hit me that I would be dying. And I went home and talked to Wanda about it and told her I just could not imagine what my thought process would be. I would be crushed, and I mean crushed. And she said, you want to help them out? And I said, yeah, let's do that. And she said, how much would it be? And I'd already done the research a little bit. And so I told her, but we decided to do it. And it's something that I've tried to do a few things over the years at Kansas and at North Carolina that make you feel good. But I'll say that probably made me feel better than anything we've ever done. And I wanted to keep it quiet. And then all of a sudden it got out that coaches weren't doing anything, and they listed me over there that I hadn't done anything, and everybody got mad about it, and Kirsch said, we got to let everybody know now, kind of thing. So, but that's the reason it got out. But just trying to help out those seniors, and it was strictly how crushed I would have been, and just I don't know how I would have handled. I know I would not have handled it well. So Wanda and I were really happy to be able to do it.
Incredibly generous, and those teams are really performing well. Like I said, 4 number 1 ranked teams. Field hockey will be ranked number 1 when it starts playing again here soon. Baseball is ranked after a great weekend. So, gosh, so many teams having a lot of success around Chapel Hill right now. Coach, Senior Day is coming up on Saturday. Of course, a unique season with seniors and trying to decide what they want to do in the future. But you have 4 seniors on your team right now. Just wanted to mention them quickly. You have 2 non-scholarship seniors in Walker Miller and KJ Smith, of course, both who have family ties to Carolina.
They're Carolina people. KJ's dad, Kenny, was a great player for us. Walker's older brother, Wes, helped us win a national championship. Walker was going to go to the Ivy League and then decided, he'd like to play basketball, and I loved it. KJ had been at University of Pacific and talked to his dad, and he said he just wanted to have a good basketball experience. Both of them have been great for us, and they are Tar Heel families, and they are Tar Heels forever.
Andrew Platek, coach, also a senior, will be playing for the last time in the Smith Center.
Yes, Andrew, from the New England area, from New York, all the time he's talking about the Patriots more than he talks about the Jets and those kind of things. But a guy that I just saw play in the Peach Jam and thought he played so hard and made a bunch of shots the first 2 games I saw him play, and he's been beaten up quite a bit this year, but a kid that I've really, really loved.
And Coach Garrison Brooks, who has had such an impact on your program over the last several seasons.
Yeah, last year, we really needed somebody to be able to score inside on a consistent basis, and Garrison was phenomenal for us. He hasn't had the ball go in the basket for him as much this year, and I feel badly for that part, but the kind of kid that I'm coaching for, because I just love dealing with him, and I could coach Garrison Brooks for the rest of my life.
That matchup with Duke is 6 o'clock on Saturday. We'll talk about the Blue Devils in just a moment. But, Coach, let's sneak in 1 or 2 more questions here before we go to break. This one comes from David Phillips, and this is an interesting question, Coach. Wants to know if you have any feel for how the selection committee, NCAA tournament, may handle all the uneven schedules this year, and how you think they may try to handle all of that.
Well, it's going to be interesting, because we – the bottom 3 or 4 teams in our league, we didn't get to play nearly as much as some of the other teams in our league, and that's not picking on anybody. It's just, Miami's just been decimated by injuries. BC's just been decimated by the virus. Those 2 teams particularly, and Steve coming up here from East Tennessee State, Wake Forest. I mean, he put together a better team over the summer than I've ever seen, but yet he didn't have anything to start with because so many guys left.
Yep.
And but some teams have been able to play those teams a lot more than others, and that is. But there's always going to be inequality with the unbalanced schedule. The problem I have this year is we lost so many home games, and some other teams were able to play their full selection of home games, and we played 9 out of our 10, but we also only played 7 conference home games, I think it is.
Carolina, in the 3 teams that Coach just mentioned, only played those 3 teams 2 total times in the regular season this year. Coach, one more before we take a break here. Jeremy May wants to know, biggest difference in your mind between Kansas and North Carolina, or coaching at Kansas and North Carolina?
Oh, my gosh, there's a million differences, and there's almost none. And I know that sounds ridiculous. The Smith Center the other day, with 3,200 people, that's what we'd like to have it when there were 21,000 there. They were so active and everything. Allen Fieldhouse, I've always said, is just a phenomenal place to play. I mean, whether it's a 12-year-old, a 19-year-old, or a 65 or a 75-year-old, they go in there and they lose their mind at Allen Fieldhouse. It's just the greatest place greatest home court advantage you can possibly ever imagine. Both places, tremendous history, tremendous interest. I like the weather here a heck of a lot better. The weather in Kansas, that wind blowing sideways, got me quite a few times. But the passion that the Kansas people had for basketball is something that I really, really loved and appreciated. And they used to say, "Hey, Coach, going back to Dodge City, it's only 5 hours tonight." And he'd driven 5 hours there, see a game, 5 hours back. We don't have that kind of fanaticism here. We have, that 7 o'clock game's too early, 9 o'clock game's too late. But we still have that same kind of passion for college basketball in the Smith Center. And you know what it is, Jones? I loved Kansas, absolutely loved it. But North Carolina's home, and that's it's almost emotional to talk about how fortunate I feel to be the coach at North Carolina.
Coach, before we sneak in a break, one of those guys who has made this such a great journey for you during your time here is Danny Green, part of the 2009 National Championship. Adam and I had a chance to talk to him. Folks will hear a little bit of that conversation coming up. And what a terrific player in Chapel Hill, and now a 3-time world champion in the NBA.
Danny's a sweetheart of a kid, and just love him to death. Helped us win a national championship, but is one of those guys that just kept plugging along, and just has had a great, great, great career.
So you'll hear some of that interview with Danny when we return. We will have Coach for one more segment after this break. We'll break down the upcoming matchup with Duke. That's when we return on the Roy Williams Show from Learfield, IMG College. Carolina's regular season finale comes Saturday at 6 o'clock. Tar Heels hosting Duke in the Smith Center. Coach, first meeting was tight. Carolina earned that 91-87 victory over the Blue Devils in Durham. Certainly no reason to believe that this game is going to be any different.
No, I'm always guessing that North Carolina and Duke, regardless of where it is a game that goes down to the wire. I would take one thing right now and run as fast as I could, 10 out of 15 from three-point line. We would like to have that kind of shooting percentage on Saturday as well. They've righted the ship. After our game, they lost to Notre Dame, and then they've won 5 of their last 6 or something like that. And it's a big-time talented team, and we know we've got to play great.
Duke does still play Georgia Tech tonight at 8 o'clock. But, Coach, in the 6 games since you guys played Duke, Matt Hurt did not have a great game against the Tar Heels, but, boy, he has been good since. He's averaging better than 22 points per game.
Well, we were fortunate. We wanted to get Matthew in foul trouble, and we did. That was a huge plus for us, and we'll try to see if we can do that again, and we'll try to make sure that he doesn't get 37 against us.
That game, again, is 6 o'clock in the Smith Center. We'll be on the air radio-wise for that one at 5 p.m. Coach, as always, great to see you. Thank you for your time, and look forward to talking with you next week.
All right, Jones, thank you very much.